Hello and welcome back to Modalities Movement Therapy. Today we are going to be looking at the pelvic anchor. If we want stronger glutes, then we need to build better pelvic stability. And we're going to look at the feet because it all begins in the feet. Your feet are the foundation of your body. If your foot arches are collapsing or they're too high, it can affect how the foot rotates, which can influence the knees, the pelvis, and muscle balance. When the pelvis is unstable, the glutes may not work as effectively, and other muscles such as the hamstrings or the quadriceps can compensate for that. Our bodies are designed to move in every direction, in every plane, by using slower controlled movements with myofascial release, and we're going to use a soft and a hard reflex ball and a resistance band and a block or a wall. By using these slower controlled movements with the myofascial release, we can improve body awareness, create better balance, and strengthen the whole body. Because a stronger, more stable foundation means stronger, more effective movement. And you know that movement is key. If you don't use it, well, you lose it. So we're going to start in standing and we're going to test our squat. Squatting is an amazing activation for the glute muscles. But if your arches, as we were talking about, are collapsing, then it's going to have an effect on the knees, it's going to have an effect on the hips. So just be aware of where you may be weaker and breathe into your squat as you come down and then exhale to your lifted position. Maybe do that 2 more times. Breathing in and exhale. Breathing is going to help us activate the pelvic floor muscles as well, because as the diaphragm expands, so it pushes the pelvic floor down, and on the exhalation you're getting that movement up. So try, as we go into these movements, to really focus on nasal breathing, so you're slowly breathing in and out through the nose and being aware of that breath as we move. Take the reflex ball and you're going to start on the right foot, and we're going to roll that foot out nice and slowly. If this ball is too hard, or if you only have a soft reflex ball or a tennis ball, that'll also work. Just rolling across the entire sole of the foot, and take it nice and slowly. Then we're going to just bring the ball onto the other side. From the big toe all the way to the heel, make sure you cover every inch of the sole of the foot. Work over the toes as well. Think about your posture, think about your breath, a nice slow and steady breath in and out through the nose. Finish off, and you can now pop that ball to the side. Bringing the right leg up again, we're going to lift into that right hip. So you want to lengthen and keep the leg straight, but we're going to lift the leg up and the hip up. We're going to now rotate into an outward hip rotation. So that foot is rotating, and I want you to focus on the upper body rotating away from that leg. Then you're going to rotate in. On the inhalation, we're rotating out. In. And then on the inhalation, you're exhaling. Inhaling and exhaling. Take it nice and slow. And exhale. Breathing in and exhale. Keep going, let's do 4 more. And exhaling. And 3. And exhaling. Last 2. And exhaling. Be aware of what's going on in that foot. And then just release it and wiggle the hips. We're going to continue with the right side. Take the leg back up. So you're now going to bend the knee and we're going to lift the hip and drop the hip. So the movement's going to continue. You're going to feel it into that supporting left hip as we did in the first exercise. Be aware of what's going on in your foot and keep lifting and just dropping that leg. Lift, movement's coming from the hip and the leg is just along for the ride. If you need a wall, a chair for your balance, use something. Finish off with 2 more and 1 more. And again, release. You might have felt a bit of a burning sensation. That's just warming up that fascia. And now we're going to do the same thing on the right side. So you're going to balance on the right leg. You're going to feel the movement in the hip. Now we're going to rotate in the left side. So opening up, creating space, breathe into the space. Exhale, inward rotation. So try keep the leg lifted. And you are transferring your weight into your right leg now, but you will feel the movement around that hip. And exhaling. 4 more, breathing in. Be aware of what's happening in the foot. Spread the toes out. Last 3. 2. And 1 more. And release. Before we move on to that next movement, now that leg is lifted and the movement's coming from the hip, and release. Take the arms out in line with the shoulders. That'll also help with the balance. But looking up and keeping that posture nice and lifted is also going to make a difference. Spreading the toes out, being aware of each and every single toe. Do another 4, 3, 2, and finish off with 1 more. And again, just release and wiggle it out. We're going to stand at the front of the mat and we're going to lunge back. So I'm going to start on my lunging back on my left side and just come onto that left knee. Cushion the knee if you need to. You're now going to take the softer reflex ball. You can actually take the harder one if you want to. I'm going to use the softer one and I want you to feel what's happening in the hamstrings. Push into that ball and lunge slightly forward. 3, 2, and 1. Bring the ball into the arch of the foot, staying up on the knee. You're going to just use that right hand to rotate that foot in, rotating in the hip, rotating out. Finish off with 2 more, and open, and the last one, and open. Release the ball, and we're now going to bring that reflex ball behind the left knee. Bring your right foot slightly closer, and we're going to sit into that stretch. So get the little toe involved, don't leave it out. And I'm opening up in my pelvis, so I'm bouncing back towards my heel. If you're taking strain in that knee, then cushion the knee a little bit and don't go down and slow, just bounce back. We're activating and we're releasing the back of the legs into the hamstrings and into the calf. I want you to open up in the hip now, so keep the ball where it is. Rotate that left foot in and you're going to sit back into that position. At the same time, I want you to bounce. So you're bouncing towards the right knee and you're still squeezing that reflex ball behind that left knee. Get the little toe involved if you need to. And we're not holding these movements. We're moving dynamically into these different positions. What you can do is just using your forearm, you're just opening up into that movement and releasing the inner thigh on the right side. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring that right foot slightly back. You're going to keep the ball where it is. Bring the right foot even closer. And we're going to sit back into, and again, this depends on your knees. Sit back into the movement. If you are taking strain in the knee, you can just hold it up. If you can, I want you to keep that right foot on the mat, hands behind your left knee, on either side of your left knee, and you're going to bounce that knee up off the mat. But if you are taking too much strain in the knee, then you're just going to uncurl the toes and bounce back, feeling the stretch across the front of the foot and all the way up into the quads. Let's do the same thing to the other side. So we're going to start with the ball under that left foot and massaging, giving it. Don't have the ball too far away from you. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring that ball into the arch of the foot. Let's open up the knee, bounce it out. Rotate the knee, bounce it in. Out and in. Keep going, out and in. Let's do another 4 and 3. Last 2. So I'm breathing in and I'm exhaling. Breathing in and exhaling. Good. Bring that ball behind that right knee now. And you're going to curl those toes under with the little toe. Bring the left foot slightly closer. And you're going to bounce back. So pelvis is not tucked under. Open up. So if you're higher and you're cushioning the knee, then you make that movement smaller, but you still keep that pelvis in that open, tilted position. Bounce the heel, bounce the tailbone back to the heel if you can, and really focus on squeezing that ball. Now we're going to step the left foot forward. You're going to rotate that right foot behind you and continue curling the toes under, so you're stretching into the arch of that foot. And if you can, you're going to bounce towards that left knee and you're going to release that inner thigh with the forearm. Pulse for 5 and 4, 3 and 2 and 1. Rotate again. Bring that left foot closer. Uncurl the toes now. Sit back into it, opening up into the pelvis, or bring the heel or the tailbone closer to the heel and that left foot closer to the knee. Then you're going to lift the knee up if you can, and you should start to feel the stretch all the way over the front of the leg. So you're releasing the back and lengthening into the front. If we sit for long periods of time, these muscles get tight, bringing about an imbalance in the front and the back line of the body. 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Coming up, we're now going to lower forward onto the mat and we're going to release. The reflex ball is going to be on your hip flexor. Then we're going to bring the reflex ball inside your hip bone. So let's start on the right side, lowering forward. Reflex ball on the hip flexor, and the hip flexor is that muscle that lifts and lowers the knee. So it's not on the hip bone, it's below the hip bone where that crease is. Bring the ball and elbows under the shoulders, curl the toes under, and you're going to massage that ball forward and back. If you want to cross the ankle, the left ankle over the right, that'll get you a little bit deeper into that release. You can also rock a little bit from side to side. It might be easier with the feet side by side, otherwise cross over. You're going to move that ball in different directions, loosening up, hydrating that fascia. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, you're going to lower onto the mat and reposition the reflex ball inside that right hip bone, inside that iliac dungeon. So you're going to take the hand under the ball if you can. Otherwise, if you find you're getting deep enough, just work with the ball on the mat. You're going to rest your forehead on your left hand. Rest your chest down. Breathe in. As you breathe in, if you're not taking any strain in the lower back, I want you to lift that right leg. Keep X in and now inhale. And then on your extension, exhale and lower down. Keep going, breathing in. Lift the leg if you can, otherwise you're just focusing on breathing into the ball. Exhale and lower down. Let's do another 2, nice and slowly, breathing in. Bend the knee. Exhale and lower down. You've got 1 more, breathing in. Exhale and lower down. Bring that ball straight over to the left side. So bring the ball, let's start in the iliac, on the iliac dungeon, on the left side, hand under the ball. If you want to get a bit deeper, resting your forehead on your right hand. Breathe into the ball. If you haven't got any strain in the lower back, you're going to lift the leg. Breathe in, bend the knee, exhale, lower down. 3 more, breathing in nice and slow and controlled. Bend the knee, exhale, and lower down. 2 more. Try relax the upper body. Rest the chest on the mat if you can. And your last one. Exhaling and lower the leg down. Ball under the hip flexor, so below the hip bone, and hands under the shoulders, or elbows under the shoulders and hands extended ahead. And just moving that ball around on that area. It's not a big range of movement, so cross the ankle if you want to get a bit deeper. And let's continue. 4 more. 3, move side to side. 2 and 1. Come up onto the hands and knees. You're going to continue using that reflex ball. Come into a seated position. We're now going to release the glutes. So I'm going to start on my left side, positioning the glutes on the ball and hands behind me. Let's roll the glutes out and slowly again move the ball onto the side of the leg. Drop the knee in that position and roll around. If you need to drop onto that elbow, you can bring that right hand in front. I'm on the left side, so I'm on my left elbow and I'm moving that ball around. Come up onto the hands if you need to. And 4, 3, 2, and 1. Let's move on to the other side. Sitting on that ball and roll that glute over the ball. Those glutes, those muscles, the biggest muscle group in the body. These are your hip stabilizing muscles. Drop onto that right elbow if you need to, and move the ball all the way onto the side of the leg. 4, 3, 2, and we're going to continue working around the back. So you're going to take the ball in line with the hip bone, and we're going to roll the ball from the spine towards that right hip bone. So let's lower onto the mat and position the ball. So I'm lifting my right buttock and I'm lifting myself up onto the ball, and I'm going to roll the ball from the right side of the spine towards the right hip bone. If your t-shirt's in the way, then just tuck it into your leggings and work as close to the skin as you can. If you want to get a bit deeper into this release, you're going to take that ankle and cross it over the left knee, and you're going to massage that ball across from side to the right side of the spine to the right hip bone. And release the foot. You're now going to bring that reflex ball onto the lower back in line, or it's not in line, it's above the hip bone and it's below the rib cage. So it's still on the right side of the spine. And position it, then take the feet apart, and you're going to bounce the knees towards the right side, and you're going to take it nice and slowly. So just start off by bouncing and releasing, bouncing and releasing. Now what I want you to do is drop the knees. You're going to breathe in. On your exhalation, you're going to push into the reflex ball and tilt the pelvis under. So you're scooping the belly in and tilting under slightly. So you're pushing a little bit deeper into the reflex ball. But if you have a lot of tension around this area, don't continue just rocking the knees to the side. Any pain, you move the ball away from the area and you work into just breathing into it, exhaling to your tuck. So even if you have got any strain in that lower back, work without the reflex ball and just breathe in, drop the knees, exhale, push into the mat and tilt the pelvis. But if you can use the reflex ball, then it's going to get a little bit deeper into the area and it's going to help release any tension there. Think of the diaphragm attached around this whole cylinder. Those attachments, the rib cage runs all the way around the back, and fascially everything is connected. Finish off with 2 more, breathing in. Push into the ball, exhaling, tilting and tucking. And you've got 1 to go, breathing in and exhaling. Coming back to the center, release the reflex ball. We're going over to the other side. Rock off that left side, position the reflex ball and lift up onto the ball. Open up the feet if you need to. Otherwise, you're crossing that left ankle over the right knee, and you're going to massage that ball from the left side of the spine towards that left hip. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release that left foot. Bring the ball higher up on the soft tissue next to the left side of the spine, below the rib cage and above the hip bone. Open up the feet and you're breathing in. You can bounce and then exhale. Breathing in. So that's your first option. If you want to take a little bit deeper, breathing in. Now exhale, push, tilt, and tuck. Keep going, breathing in. And exhale. Here you go for 3, breathing in. Remember, you've got the option to work without the ball and just getting the movement into the spine and loosening up in the hips as well. Finish off with 1 more and exhale. Rock off the reflex ball and put the ball to the side. Hug your knees to your chest and you're going to rock up to a seated position. We're now going to take that loop resistance band and we're going to bring it around the big toes, and you're going to extend your feet in line with your hips. Bring the hands behind you if you want to. If you've got your yoga block and you're not comfortable in this seated position, but hopefully by now with all the releases you will feel comfortable, you can sit on that yoga block and you're going to pulse the feet out, opening up. And then you should start to feel the arches of the feet working as well as those glutes on the side of the legs. Open up and pulse. Lifting up. Make sure you're on the sit bones if you're on the mat, and pulse the feet out. Keep going. Let's get comfortable and keep moving. 8, 7. So each time you open up, you're fanning those feet out. You're trying to rotate into that open position. So try and get them a little bit further apart. Do another 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Bring the feet slightly closer and let's reposition the resistance band above the knees. So this is where you can either use the wall. I'm going to show you the option with the yoga block. If you don't have a yoga block, you can use the reflex ball. So we're going to rotate onto our side. I want you to be aware of the position of your feet. So from there, we're going to have a 90-degree angle and a 90-degree angle there. If you're at the wall, you're going to have the same position. Then you're going to lie onto your side. You can support your head in your hand if you want to. First option is to bring that reflex ball between the ankles and you're going to pulse. So it's a little bit tricky with the reflex ball, so that's why the wall is a little bit easier, or the block. You're going to keep the knees apart, keep the resistance in the band, and you're going to just make a small movement, pulsing that top knee up. Okay. If you are using the yoga block, that'll give you a little bit more range of movement and more resistance. You're going to pulse that knee up. Pulse it up. Keep squeezing the reflex up. Keep squeezing the yoga block between the feet. Pulse that leg up. This is the same movement, so I want you to imagine my feet, the soles of my feet are up against the wall, and you're going to separate the knees so the top foot is slightly higher up, and let's keep going. 5, 4, 3, feel what's going on in the leg, in the glutes. 2, and finish off. Let's come up. You're going to release that block or that ball, or come away from the wall and rotate onto your hands and knees. I'm still focusing on the right side. I'm now going to bring my hands closer to me. My right foot is going into the arch of my left foot, and I'm keeping my right knee open. If you have got the yoga block, you can also use that. That's going to help you come a little bit higher, and you're going to rotate that knee out. If you haven't got the yoga block, hands on the mat. We're now going to keep the knee open. Breathe in to arch. Exhale to tuck. Keep going, breathing in and exhale. Keep that knee open. Breathe in and exhale. Breathing in and exhale. Bring the hands closer if you want to. You can even take that left hand, so I'm on my left knee, bring the left hand behind the back and challenge your balance. Exhale. Then you'll start to feel the leg and the glutes working on the left side. Exhaling. Another 3. 2 more. Keeping that knee open. And exhale. Stop and have a quick drink. Make sure you're hydrating that body throughout the exercises. And we're going to rotate onto the other side. So use the wall, use your block, or use your reflex ball. Between those feet, 90-degree angles. Make sure the hips are stacked, the knees are stacked, and the feet are stacked. Okay, lying down, rest your head in your hand, and let's make that movement small and controlled. Lifting and lowering. Just let your breathing normalize. Lower down if you want to. Squeeze the block, resist against the band. Open yourself up. 5, 4, 3, 2, and finish off in that open position. Push up onto the elbow, release that block, and let's rotate around onto that right knee now. If you're following me, you can bring the block in front and just bring the left hand onto the block, and when you're ready, right hand behind your back. We're opening up, arch the back. What I like about bringing my hand onto my lower back is I'm feeling the movement in the spine. Breathing in. Breathing in. See if you can focus a little bit longer on your exhalation. So initiating each movement from the lower back and then exhaling. Keep going, breathing in and exhaling. 4 more and exhaling. And 3. Your last 2. And 1 more. Lovely. Hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. Curl the toes under. We're going to come into a short plank, or that's your short plank position. Knees under hips, hands under shoulders, and we're going to open up and just pulse the knees out. 8, 7, relax your head. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. You're going to extend the legs into a pyramid or down dog position, and let's walk the feet or the hands to the feet. Breathe in, uncurl through the spine. Okay, taking that resistance band, we're going to bring it onto the big toes again. In our standing position, you're going to open up the feet as wide as you can. Turn the feet out. And here, keeping your stability, you're going to lift the heels and lower the heels. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. We're going to do another 4, and 3. See if you can extend your exhalation 2. Now take it even slower. And your last one, you're going to hold up in the lifted position. And we're going to pulse the heels down for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release the heels and release the band. So we're just going to pop the band to the side. We're going to finish with some balances. So I'm going to start on my right leg, spread the toes out, and you're going to lift that left foot up, bending that left knee. Like you would in a running stance, you're going to come into, I would call it a lunge, trying to aim to get that knee back, and then you're coming up. So we're going to breathe in as we go into that running stance, exhaling and lifting. Breathing in. If you need a chair, a wall, then by all means use something. You want to focus on nice, slow and controlled movement. Be aware of what's happening in your foot. Keep going. You've got 4 more. And exhaling. And 3. And exhale. Last 2. And exhale. Are you also aware of what's happening in that knee? And exhale. Maybe give that ankle a little bit of a release. And let's step onto that left foot if you're following me. Lift that right foot and let's breathe in to that squat position, running stance, exhaling and coming up. Here we go for 2. And 3. Breathe in for 4. 4 more. Take it nice and slow. And 3. Bring your awareness to your foot and your knee. Last 2. And 1 more. And shake it all out. Release the ankle. And I almost forgot about those squats. We're going to test that range of movements in your squats. So feet apart. Make sure this is not happening. Make sure that is not happening. You're not opening up too much and rolling the ankles out. You want the toes to be slightly out. Ever so slightly turned out. Then we're going to breathe in. Feel what's happening in the feet. Feel what's happening in the knees, in the hips. Exhale. Use the glutes. Keep going. Let's breathing in. Extending those arms. So you want to keep that upper body in a nice lifted position. Exhale. Lower down. Breathing in. And exhale. Breathing in and exhale. Make sure the heels are not lifting. You're keeping the chest nice and lifted. So you want to continue looking forward. Don't let your upper body drop down. You want to keep the pelvis nice and open there. 4 more and release. 3 and release. Last 2 and release. The last one you're going to hold in that squat position, breathing in. Now if you can, you're going to sit onto the mat. If you need to come forward onto the knees, cross the ankles into a seated position. Extend your legs and let's lower onto the mat. Let your feet flop out, let them relax. Bring your hands onto your rib cage. Let's relax into this. Let your feet flop out. Bring your hands onto your rib cage. Make sure your head is nice and rested. If you need a block, a cushion to keep your chin down and your neck in a straight line So you want to lengthen through the neck. If your head is in this position, then give it some support. Breathing in for 4 counts. And now exhale. And I want you to think of the movement from the diaphragm as we breathe in. Diaphragm is, lungs are expanding, diaphragm is pushing down. That's pushing the pelvic floor right down. And then on the exhalation, the diaphragm assists to push the breath from the lungs, and your pelvic floor is going to lift up. We want that movement. We don't want a stiff, rigid pelvic floor. We want as much mobility there as we can get, to keep everything functioning efficiently. Exhaling. Finish off with one more breath, in for 4 counts. And see if you can extend your exhalation, even finishing off in 8 counts. One foot flat, the other foot flat, bend the knees, hug the knees to the chest. Rock yourself to a seated position. Well done, and thank you for joining me. If you did enjoy the workout, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel, as well as any questions you might have or any comments. I'd be happy to respond to them.